Yes, good evening once again. We are still continuing with manufacturing accounts. In our previous lecture, in our previous session, we saw how to come up with a manufacturing account, how to construct a manufacturing account. And I told you that a manufacturing account is prepared because it is in this account where we determine the cost of those goods that have been manufactured, the cost of goods that have been manufactured. We determine that from the manufacturing account. We determine that from the manufacturing account, whereby we have to get the cost of raw materials. We add the cost of labor that has been used during production. Then we also add the factory overhead. Then we come up with the total production cost. And on that, we have to add the opening work in progress. And then we less the closing work in progress to come up with the cost of those goods that have been manufactured. So that's the manufacturing account. We managed to prepare one. Unfortunately, I don't have the manufacturing statement which we prepared. But in case you missed the previous Saturday's class, you can use the recording on my YouTube. That recording is there. It can help you to learn more about the manufacturing account, how it is prepared. So it's there. Now we'll try to look at part B of the question. It was you were given a trial balance, as you can see, for this company, Textile Limited. We are given a trial balance with some additional information, and then you are required to prepare for Textile Limited for the end of 31st December 2023, a manufacturing statement, and then you also required to come up with the statement of profit, or loss. So we prepare the manufacturing statement already. I'm going to prepare the statement of profit or loss, and I think I'll still use the same question to prepare the statement of financial position. You can still use the same, come up with the statement of financial position. Then maybe after this, I'll get you some questions for trial, and then you see if you can prepare the manufacturing account, statement of profit or loss, and then maybe the statement of financial position. So that's it all. Let us come up with a statement of profit or loss. I believe you have a question with you there. We are going to just continue from where we stopped. Then we come up with a statement of profit or we come up with a statement of profit or loss. This is Textile Limited. The reporting date is 31st December 2003. So let's come up with a statement of profit or loss. I'm also going to use the same to come up with a statement of financial position. Then we'll see how to do it. So you're going to come up with a statement of profit or loss. You write in the heading, this is textile. This is textile. Start the spelling, textile. Let us come up with this is textile. This is textile statements. Statement of profit or loss. For the year ended, for the year ended 31st December 2023. So that is statement of profit or loss for the end of 31st December 2023. Our amounts, we already know the insurance are thousands. Have this insurance thousands. So this is our statement of profit or loss, which we are going to prepare. Statement of profit or loss, this one is prepared to determine the profit or loss of the company. So we are going to find out if this textile limited has made a profit or they have made a loss. We are going to find out that. So in case you have a question, you will unmute. So let's start filling the information here, and we see how much profit they are making. So profit or loss, we start with the sales revenue. You know that. Sales revenue. So look through the trial balance. We find out the sales revenue figure. Check the trial balance. How much is the sales revenue? How much is the sales revenue? Figure, look at your trial balance, please. How much is sales revenue, members? Those with a question, how much is the sales revenue? Patricia, how much is the sales revenue? Sales revenue is how much? Sales revenue was 658. Please check the question.
6,000. I mean, 6,000, 85,000.
This is 658. That is our sales revenue. Then we have to less the cost of sales. We have to less the cost of sales, as you all know. We have less the cost of sales. When it comes to cost of sales, we start with the opening ones. We start with the opening inventory of the finished goods. Opening inventory of finished goods, we find that in the trial balance. So checking the trial balance for the opening inventory of finished goods, it should be there. Opening inventory of finished goods. How much is the opening inventory of these finished goods? Yes. Checking the trial balance. How much is the opening inventory of finished goods? That is 60 what?
68,900.
68,900. That is our opening inventory. Now we normally add the purchases, but as you know, this is a manufacturing firm. It produces the unit, it produces the goods it is selling. So we have to find out the cost of the manufactured goods. So instead of adding the purchases, we say add the cost of manufactured as the cost of manufactured goods from the other part A of the question. So cost of the manufactured goods. Cost of manufactured goods, this comes from our part A of the question. So how much was the cost of the goods manufactured? Check your what? Check your manufacturing statement. How much is the cost of manufactured goods? How much is the cost of manufactured goods? Check your manufacturing statement, please. The one we prepared last time. Look at your answers. How much is the cost of the goods that we have manufactured? Susan, check on that figure, please. Patricia, check on the figure. Joanna, check on that figure. Myra, how much was the cost of goods manufactured?
So I did the final answer. Cost
The
of
final
goods
answer,
for manufacturing.
it was how much?
It's 892,
Eight,
860,
it's 892,
860.
860. That is the cost of the manufactured. That's the cost of the manufactured goods from our manufacturing account. So we have to less the closing inventory. We have to less the closing inventory of finished goods. That is in the additional information. So in your additional information, check the closing inventory of finished goods. Check in the additional information, please. The closing inventory of the finished goods should be there. Check. Closing inventory of finished goods is how much? Closing inventory of finished goods is how much? Yes, closing inventory of finished goods.
It's 78,500.
7,800. This should be minus. So get the opening inventory plus the cost of goods manufactured, less the closing inventory of finished goods, then we get the cost of sales figure. Do the addition, please, and the subtraction, then we get the cost of sales figure. Let's do that very fast. Let's do that. Let's do that. How much is the cost of sales figure? You should be having a calculator. You should be having a calculator, please. Patricia, how much do you have? Those on YouTube, watching from YouTube, what is the cost of sales figure? Me, I get 360. Please, you can confirm. That's what I get. 88360. That is the cost of sales figure. Christine and Brenda, is that the figure you have? So deduct this from the sales revenue to come up with a gross profit or a gross loss. But in this case, I see we are likely to come up with a gross loss because the cost of sales is greater than the sales revenue. So we get a gross loss. This will be a gross loss. This will be a gross loss, okay? So how much is our gross loss? How much is the gross loss, members? Patricia, Susan, how much is the gross loss? How much will be the gross loss? How much is the gross loss? Members, you should be having a calculator, a pen, a book, because we're in class. I expect you to be working out that side as you're following. Then we come up with our figures. I don't know how much the gross loss is. Kaija, what is your gross loss? How much is the gross loss? Brenda, how much is your gross loss? Patricia, how much is your gross loss? Susan, how much is the gross loss? Andrew, Elizabeth, please. How much is your gross
It's
loss?
569, 640.
500?
No, sir, for me it is 225, 360.
Let me first calculate again.
No, you're getting the revenue minus the cost of sales figure. Cost of sales is 883,360. The gross loss is one. I have 198,360. That's the gross loss. 198,360. That is our gross loss. You're getting the revenue minus the cost of sales figure. Christine, that's not the gross loss. I don't know. It's supposed to be, this is 658,000 minus 883,360. Oh, okay. That it is
560.
sorry, I think I made it. It's 22. Just made a mistake. Yeah. It's 22. It's 22. 5,360. Hope the cost of sales figure is okay. So 68,900 plus the 892,860, then minus 7,800. That is 883,360. When we minus that from the sorry. Revenue. I think revenue, I interchanged the figure. It's supposed to be 685. Sorry. This is 685,000 minus 883,360. Sorry, minus 685,000. Oh, I see someone on YouTube has 198. Please look at the question, please. Don't just write. This is 198,360. There was an error on our sales revenue. So the gross loss is 198,360. That is our gross loss. That is our gross loss. I see you have 198,360. Yeah, that's the gross loss. That is our gross loss. Now what we have to do is to less the operating expenses. Let us try to less the operating expenses. That is our gross loss. Let us less the operating expenses. Let us less the operating expenses. Less the operating expenses. Now, under the operating expenses, remember we categorize these expenses. We categorize them as selling and distribution expenses, office and admin, financial charges. Let us start with the selling. And the distribution costs. So under selling and distribution costs, what do we have? Under selling and distribution costs, what do we have under selling and distribution? Members, check the trial balance, selling and distribution costs. Let me take you back to the question briefly. Selling and distribution costs. Let us try to say selling and distribution costs. So under selling and distribution, I see we have sales commission somewhere. We have the sales commission, which is 12,950, and this sales commission has no any adjustment, so we can just bring it the way how it is. Selling and distribution costs. We have sales commission. The sales commission, that is 1,2,950. As you can see from your trial balance, we have 1,2, we have 1,2,950. Then from the commission, when you look at the additional information, you'll see that we have to apportion expenses. We have to apportion expenses. We have to apportion electricity. We have to apportion rent. We have to apportion insurance to the factory, to the warehouse, and then to the office. So warehouse, that is office, and sorry, that is selling and distribution. Then office, and then there is also factory. So selling and distribution, still those are, here we look at warehouse costs, where we have sales commission. Then I have to show the rent. Since there is rent, there is rent. How much is the rent? How much is this rent? When it comes to the rent, how much is the rent? Patricia, how much is the rent? Christine, Brenda, Joy, how much is the rent here? Check your trial balance. How much is the rent? How much is the rent? Our rent is how much?
45,800.
Rent is 45,800. But of course, you know, there is some adjustment to make. Rent is 45,800. But we have accrued rent. How much is the rent accrued? There is some accrued rent. How much is that rent accrued? How much is the accrued rent? Accrued rent is how much?
So on additional statement, I'm seeing the statement which is saying there was no accrued or prepayment of rent. But at the start of the financial year, the rent expenses per month was 4 million.
Yeah, but remember we computed something about rent. We computed because the rent expense per month was 4 million. Okay. We came up with something about accrued rent. Those who attended the previous class, how much was the accrued rent? We came up with a computation. How much was the accrued rent? Those who attended the previous class. Christine, how much was the rent accrued? Accrued rent. Yeah, accrued rent was 2,200. Ija has the accrued rent that was 2,200. Thank you, Joy. 2,200. That was the accrued rent. I told you that before you apportion, you have to first make the adjustments. The accrued rent, that was 2,200. Then we have to portion, this. What portion do we take to the warehouse? That is selling and distribution. What portion do we take? Rent, you see, there is a question mark. There is a question mark. So it's you to find out the missing fraction. When you add all these fractions, they should give you 1. When you add all of them, they should be giving you 1. But for warehouse, you see there is a question mark, and that does not mean that there is no figure. There has to be a figure. But when we add all the factory, we add the warehouse and the office, these fractions should add up to 1. So what is the missing fraction under warehouse? How can we arrive at the missing fraction? What will be the missing fraction, members? What will be the missing fraction there? What will be the missing fraction? What is 1 minus 4/8 minus 2/5? What fraction is missing to make the total equal to 1?
I think 2/3.
Just to be 1 minus 4/8 plus 2/5. When you get 1, because when you add the fraction, they should give you 1. So what is 1 minus 4/8, then minus 2/5? What is the missing fraction there? What is the missing fraction there? Use your calculator. Missing fraction.
Which 1 out of 10?
1 out of 10. The missing fraction is 1 out of 1 out of 10, because it is 0.1, which is 1 out of 10. So here we have a 1 out of 10. It's the missing fraction. The missing fraction. Here we have 1 out of 10. So meaning that under the warehouse expenses or under selling and distribution, rent, we are taking 1 over 10. So I'll come and say this is times 1 over 10. The 200 we have added, the 2,200 we have added, this is accrued, please. Accrued. So how much do we have as the figure for rent? That goes to the selling and distribution. When you add and a portion, how much do you get? This will be 45,800 plus 2,200, 10 times 1 divided by 10. That's for 8 what? That's for 800. So here we have for 800 there. We have a for 800. Then I saw there is insurance also. How much is the insurance? The insurance expense is how much? Insurance in the trial balance, how much is the insurance?
24,000.
Insurance is 24K. That is 24,000 insurance. Our insurance is 24,000. Any adjustment on the insurance? Adjustments on insurance. Insurance, the 12 balance was paid on 1st September, covering a period of 12 months. Yes. Covering a period of 12 months. Yet we are closing on 31st December 2023. So we had accounted for September, October, November, December, meaning that out of this insurance of 24,000, I need to get insurance of only 4 out of 12 months. But then when it comes to the warehouse or selling and distribution, you're going to take what fraction? Insurance, you're taking a quarter. You're taking a quarter. You're taking a quarter as per the additional info, as per the additional information. You're going to take a quarter. You're going to take quarter, the selling and distribution or to the warehouse expenses. So we take a quarter insurance. So times a quarter times. So how much do we have now? How much do we have? What is 24,000 times 4 over 12 times a quarter? Brenda, how much do you have? Kaija, how much is 24,000 times 4 over 12 times 1 over 4? Patricia, Andrew, how much do you get there?
2,000.
We get 2,000.
2,000, yeah.
2,000. Then we also have to show the electricity. There is electricity as well. There is electricity. Okay, I will have seen the answer. There's electricity. Check your electricity in the trial balance. How much is the electricity? How much is the electricity?
21,100.
Electricity is
21,500, is it?
Yes. Any
100,
adjustment on electricity? Any adjustment on the electricity? Any adjustment on electricity? Take the additional information. Additional information, what do we have? Anything to adjust? The electricity prepayment at the end of the year amounted to 300,000. Amounted to 300,000. So we have to less the prepayment. There was electricity that was prepaid. So less 300, the prepayment. So minus 300. Then after minusing the prepaid, then we have to see the fraction, the portion that goes to the warehouse. Electricity, we take 2 over 4, the warehouse. So times 2 over 4. Is it 2 over 4? Times 2 over 4. Yes, times 2 over 4. Electricity, warehouse 2 over 4. Times 2 over 4. Okay, let's get the answer. Electricity, Christine. Let's compute for electricity. Let's compute electricity. Let's compute the electricity. How
I think
much?
it's 10,550.
It's 10.
10,550.
Okay, that is 10, 550.
month.
Which other expenses do we have? That will go to the selling and distribution or to the warehouse. Do we have depreciation? Okay. Now there is not 5. There is not 5. And when it comes to note 5, you will see that the factory has 10 computers purchased 2 years back. 5 of these computers are used in the office, 3 in the factory, and 2 in the warehouse. And 2 in the warehouse. What does that mean? It simply means that the depreciation of the 2 computers will be charged under the warehouse or under the selling and under the selling and the distribution will be charged under the selling and distribution or the warehouse costs. Okay. Will be charged under that category. Remember, this is selling and distribution costs, but you can still say stroke warehouse. Normally, the selling and distribution cost is the common category, but still they are the same as the warehouse expenses in this case. So we have to get the depreciation of computers now. How are the computers depreciated? How much is the cost of the computers in total? What was the cost of the computers? What was the cost of the computers, members?
It was 14,000.
14,000, really? No, not 14.
35,000.
35,000. That computers, their total is 35,000 as per the trial balance. Computers up here, their cost is 35,000. This. How are they depreciated? Are they using straight line method? Computers 20% on cost. So we have to get 20% on the cost of the computers. So times 20%. But the 35,000 is for the total cost of, is the total cost of 10 computers. But we have been told that 2 of the computers are in the warehouse. We need to get 2 out of 10. We just need a portion of that depreciation to charge under the warehouse expenses. So what is 35,000 times 20% times 2 over 10? Yes?
1,400.
1,400. 1,400. 1,400. Any other expense that will fall under the warehouse or selling and distribution? I think this is what we have based on the information available. So let's try to add and get a total. Let's add and get the total. Let's add and get the total. Let's try to add and get a total. Total warehouse expenses. Let's
31,700.
we have 31,700. Okay, 31,700. Thank you, Viola. 31,700. Now we have the office and administration costs. Let's also bring in the office and admin. Office and admin costs. Office and the administration costs. Office and admin costs. So under office and admin, what do we have? Let's try to check and see. Under office and administration, what do we have there? Office and admin. First of all, you see you have administrative what? You have administrative expenses. We have administrative expenses. So you first show those administrative expenses. Administrative expenses. So under the administrative expenses, how much are the administrative expenses? We have 341,250. We have 341 to what? We have 341,250. That is administrative expenses. 341,250. But of course, you know that all these expenses we have up here, there is a portion that goes to office and admin. There is a portion that goes to office and administration. So there is rent. We have insurance. We have electricity. There is also depreciation of computers because we have some computers that are used for office and administrative purposes. Electricity and depreciation. Let us start with the rent. Let us start with the rent. Rent, it is 45,800, but there is some accrued of 2,200. What fraction do we take to office and admin?
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. The time was 2 out of 5. What is 45,800 plus the accrued of 2,200 times 2 over 5? How much do we get?
19,200.
That is 19,200. Insurance, they had paid 24,000, but that was covering a period of a full year. But with this, we saw that the insurance was incurred from 1st September, yet they are closing on 31st December. So we have to find out the insurance for only the 4 months for that financial year. That was 4 times 12. Then times the fraction that goes to office and admin. How much is that fraction? How much is that fraction? What's the fraction? Insurance, office and admin. Insurance, office and admin. That is 2/8. That is 2/8. That's 2/8. That's 2/8. So times 2/8 times 2/8. So that gives us how much? How much is that?
2,000.
I beg your pardon?
2,000.
It's 2,000, eh?
Yes.
How comes it's 2,000?
Yes, it's 2,000, sir.
Insurance. Okay. Insurance, 2,000. Okay, 2,000. Then electricity. Electricity is an accrued. The amount was 21,400, but there is an accrued of 300. What fraction do we take to office and admin when it comes to electricity? Electricity, what fraction? Christine, that's what fraction?
3/10.
3/10. Eh?
Yeah, I think so.
So how much will be the expense? The electricity expense under office and admin?
Six 330. 6330.
6330. Depreciation of computers, we have been told the total cost of the computers, it's 35. We depreciate at 20%. How many computers are used for administrative purposes? How much will be it? How many computers are used under the office?
Five.
Five. There are 5
Five.
computers. Eh? That
Yeah.
times 5 out of 10 rather. So how much is that?
$3,500.
3,500. 3,500. Any other expense left out? I think we have it all. So in case there is anything left out, please find out. But I think everything has been considered. So just add up, then we see what we have. Try to add up, try to add up.
One 142, 280. Maybe others will also add.
How much?
142, 280.
Yeah,
Mm.
correct.
$142 to what? 280. These are all costs now that have to be deducted from our gross loss. Remember, we have a gross loss. We don't have financial charges, expenses like interest. We don't have those discounts allowed. We don't have those expenses. What we can do now, we can minus all these expenses from the gross loss to come up with a net loss. I believe it will still be a net loss. It will still be a net loss. How much will be that net loss now? Christine, how much will be the net loss? Joy, how much will be the net loss? How much will be the net loss? Members, let's try to find out the net loss. Christine, that is the total office and admin expenses. It's 142 to 80, but now I want to get the net loss. Get your gross loss, which you already have, minus all these costs, then we get our net loss. Then we get our net loss.
Is it 11,0580?
No, it can't be that. Remember, the gross loss is a negative already. Don't forget. Kaija is asking, where does the 20% wages go? I think you missed the other session, the first session, but the 20% wages, those were indirect wages, and we charged them under the factory overheads. Joy. 20% of the factory wages were indirect expenses, so they appeared, or we presented them under the factory overheads. You need to check on the previous recording, the first session of last Saturday, for you to be able to see what we did. Okay, 20% of the wages are indirect, so they appeared under the factory wages. Joy. Yes, members. What is our net loss?
Yeah, I got 372, 340.
Because these are all now expenses. They are all costs. The other one is a loss. It's a negative. Minus these negatives, you still, the loss just increases. So you have how much? Three what?
372, 340.
372,
340.
340. 372, 340. So that is your statement of profit or loss. That is our statement of profit or that is our statement of profit or loss. That is our statement of profit or statement of profit or loss. So the question, the question asks you to prepare the what? The manufacturing statement as well as the statement of profit or loss. But let me use the same information to prepare a statement of financial position, and then I will get for you a question to try out. Okay? Yeah, I'll get for you a question to try out. We'll get a question for you to try out after. So let me also show you how to come up with a balance sheet. But before you go to the balance sheet, I don't know if there is anyone with a question. If you have a question, please, you can ask before we continue. In case you missed the previous class, make sure you use that recording in addition to today's one for you to be able to see where we started from. So questions, please ask your questions in case you have some questions. Those with the questions, please ask questions in case they are there. If there is not any question, then we will go to the statement of financial position. We go.
Excuse me, still confused a bit how you got the total,
Which total?
the 37 something.
Oh. Remember, the loss is negative. Okay? The gross loss, initially it was a negative. So if it was negative, what do? We get that negative 198,360. We minus 31.7, then you also minus 142,280. You come up with 372,340. Alternatively, you can just add all these losses because this is in brackets, this is in brackets, this is in brackets. You can just add all of them and come up with your total net loss. Okay. So Christine, Joy, Flavia, Brenda, in case you have any question before we move to the next part, which is the balance sheet, please, in case you have a question, feel free to ask that before we do the balance sheet. You can share the question in the chat box. I will read them and then see how I can answer them one by one. Maybe having questions about manufacturing accounts, please. So far from what we have done, ask before we go to the balance sheet. I'll do the balance sheet and then we shall stop there. Then I will share some questions for you to try out. Next week, we start on maybe partnerships. Okay. The next Saturday will be partnerships. We are going to look at partnership accounts. I will share some questions during the week for you to try out about manufacturing accounts. Then the coming Saturday, we start on something new. Christine, any question? Joy, any question, please? In case you have questions, I think Joy have answered your question about the 20% of the wages. We have answered that. Now I want us to prepare. The statement of financial position. If there are no questions, let's go to the statement of financial position. Remember, in the statement of financial position, that's where we list the assets, the liabilities, and the equity of the business. So let's try to see how we can come up with the statement of financial position. It was not a requirement, it was not a part of the required, but we can just come up with one and then we see. So this is textile. Let us prepare one. This is textile. This is so this is textile. Textile. statement of financial position, as at which date, as at as at 31st December 2000 what? 2023. 31st December 2020, 2023. 31st December 2023. Your voice is low. Oh, sorry, Joanna. But textile statements, textile limited. Textile limited. So the previous answer, is it okay to include a negative sign or not necessary? Which previous answer, Patricia? Net loss or gross loss? If it's a loss, then it's better you put it in brackets for you even to remember that it's a loss, because if you leave it as a positive figure, then you may end up adding, or you may take it to be positive, yet it is what? Yet it is negative. So Joy, so basically warehouse and office make up the profit and loss calculation, and warehouse is for manufacturing account. No, warehouse that will be part of profit and loss. Warehouse we can still refer to that as selling and sale. So we can relate it to selling and distribution costs. It should appear in. We only take the factory, warehouse, and then office. So warehouse and office, that is profit and loss. Joy, that is profit and loss. Then the factory overheads, that's what will appear. The manufacturing account, please. Yeah. Here they have used warehouse, but normally it's the common one is selling and distribution, but still you relate it to warehouse, you relate it to selling and distribution. So those appear under the profit and loss, not in the manufacturing account. So this was textile, the heading. We want to come up with a balance sheet. Textile limited. Statement of financial position as at 31st December 2023. As at 31st December 2020, 2023. You know we have a column for cost, column for accumulated depreciation, and then a column for net book what? So factories for manufacturing, yes, factory overhead, those ones will appear in the manufacturing account. Joy. So cost, our costs are in shillings and thousands. Our costs are in shillings and thousands. In the statement of financial position, you know, we start with assets. We start with the assets. And the under assets, we start with the non-current what? Start with the non-current assets. So what are the non-current assets? Members, check out the non-current assets very fast. We list them one by one. What are the non-current assets? What are the non-current assets? Patricia, what are the non-current assets? What are the non-current assets? Members, what are the non-current assets? Check the question. What do we have? Under non-current assets, Christine, Flavia, what do we have under the non-current assets? We have plant and what? We have plant and machinery. We have plants. We have plant and machinery. How much is the plant and machinery? What's the cost of the plant and machinery? Cost of plant and machinery. Andrew, what's the cost of plant and machinery?
$214,500.
We have 214,500. That is the cost. 214,500. 214,500. We have 214,500. I have some small note here. This note is about the accumulated depreciation. Our plants and machinery, we want to get its accumulated depreciation. In the trial balance, there is a depreciation at the start, the opening balance. Opening balance of the depreciation, this was 65. I don't know whether you see this, 65,800. But then we have the charge for the year. Because to get the accumulated depreciation to take to the balance sheet, I told you that you get the opening balance, the trial balance, then you add the charge for the what? You add the charge for the year. You add the charge for the year. So how much is the charge for the year? Remember, depreciation of plant and machinery, we took this to the manufacturing account. Take your manufacturing account and read for me the charge for the depreciation of the plant and machinery. How much was that depreciation? Depreciation of plant and machinery was how much? Christine, how much was your depreciation, plant and machinery? Check your manufacturing account. How much was that? How much was the depreciation? How much?
25,740.
25,740. Okay, that it was 25,740. So what is this total? The total accumulated depreciation on the plant, 65,800 plus 25,740. That's 90 what? That's 91,540. So in your balance sheet or in the statement of financial position, we have to minus that accumulated depreciation, 91,540. We have to minus this from the cost to come up with the net book value. Net book value is the cost of the assets less accumulated depreciation Let's accumulate depreciation, don't forget. So how much is our net book value of the plant? 214,500 minus 91,540. That gives us 122,960. That gives us 122,960. That is our plant and machinery net book value. They also have computers. They also have the computers. The cost of the computers is how much? The cost of the computers as per the trial balance is 35,000. But the depreciation, let's try to see that depreciation for the computers. Just working here. Computers. We want to see their accumulated depreciation. The opening balance of the depreciation of the computers. How much is the balance? Accumulated depreciation as at 1st July 2023 for the computers. How much is that?
14,000.
That is 14,000. Okay. But then we have the charge. For the year. But the charge for the year, you know, there is a portion that we took to the factory. How much was the depreciation charged under the factory on the computers? Someone check that out. Check the depreciation on the computers in the factory. How much was that? We have to add and get a total. How much was that depreciation?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Is it 14,000 or 1,400?
No, the depreciation balance from the question for the computers is 14,000. That is the opening balance. But now we want to find out the charges for the year because we have been depreciating these computers and their depreciation has been charged to the different, has been allocated to the different sections of the financial statements. There is a figure we took to the manufacturing account. How much was that? Someone check. Because the computers, we have some computers in the factory that are used in the factory. How much was their depreciation? Patricia, how much is that depreciation for the computers in the factory?
So is it 2,100?
2,100. Okay. 2,100. So that is 2,100. Kristen, we have the opening balance, which is 14, yes, but now we want to add the charge for the year because these computers depreciated during the year. Okay. So factory to 100. Then there is one for the warehouse. And then one for office. Admin. Warehouse, we took how much as the depreciation? Computers, depreciation under warehouse. How much is the depreciation for the computers? Check your profit and loss. I think we have this. We can get this from up here. Warehouse. Selling and distribution. Computers. That is 1,400. Okay. That is 1,400. There was a 1,400 charge. Then office and admin, we took 3,500. That was 3,500. That was 3,500. So how much is the total depreciation? How much is the total depreciation on the computers? Let's get a total. Let's get the total. Let's get a total. 14,000 plus 200 plus 1,400 plus 3,500.
21.
21 what? 21,000?
10,000.
21. Okay. Yes, Joe, you're right. It's 7,000. 7,000, that is the total charge for the year. Because when you add all these, you get 7,000. But on the 7,000, we add the opening balance of 14,000 to make it 21, to make it 21,000. So estimated depreciation on the computers is 21,000. 21,000. So you get your 35,000 minus 21,000. We end up with a net book
14.
value of 14.
14,000.
We can get the totals to 14,500 plus 35. Total cost of these assets is 249,500. Total depreciation is 91,540 plus 21,000. That is 112,540. Deduct that from the top cost 249,500. We have 136,960. So that is the non-current asset section. Those non-current assets, those assets that have been acquired for use in the business for more than a period of more than a period of 1 year. They have been acquired not for sale, but for use in business. So let us move to the current assets now. Let us move to the current. Let us move to the current assets. Let us move to the current assets now. Let us move to the current assets. Current assets, we know that those are the assets that the company expects to convert to cash, use up. So they represent the company's ability to meet its short-term obligations. And of course, you know the examples of current assets. We have inventories, we have prepaid expenses, cash, accounts receivable. So those all those are current. All those are current assets. So let us list them one by one. So we have inventory. Now, when it comes to inventory under manufacturing firms, these firms have 3 main categories of inventory, and we have to show all these inventories in the statement of financial position. We have to show all these inventories in the statement of financial position. So let us try to see. We have checking the additional information in note 1. They have inventory of finished goods. We can add them from the first column. Inventory of finished goods is 78, 400. We have work in progress. Which is 48. You have to add all these inventory figures. Then you also bring the raw material inventory. Raw materials, which is 52, 950. When you add these, you get total inventory of how much? How much will the total inventory figure? How much will the total inventory figure? Total inventory figure, that would be how much? 78,400 plus 48,650 plus 52,950. That's around 180. So inventory is 180. You have to add and get the total of all those categories of inventory. You have the accounts receivable. Accounts receivable. Accounts receivable are the money owed to a company by its customers for the goods or services that have already been delivered on credit. So accounts receivables. How much are the accounts receivable? Checking the trial balance. Someone check the trial balance. Read for us the accounts receivable figure. Christine, how much is the accounts receivable? How much is the accounts receivable figure? How much is it?
215, 880.
215, 18, 215, 880. I've transferred that to the second column. That's accounts receivable. You know we have prepaid. Which expense was prepaid? Was it insurance? We have prepaid insurance, I think. There is a prepaid insurance. And I think insurance of around 8 over 12 months because they paid insurance for a period of 12 months. But the insurance we accounted for, they are in the 31st December 2023. It's just for 4 months, meaning that the insurance of 8 months, that insurance was prepaid. So that will be 8 over 12 of the 20, is it 24K? That represents the prepaid insurance. That represents the prepaid. That represents the prepaid insurance. And what is 8 over 12 times that's 24? 8 by 12 times 24. Okay. That's around 16,000. That is prepaid insurance. Then bring your cash and bank. Cash and bank, that is also current asset. Cash and bank, it's also a current asset. So how much is that cash and bank? How much is the cash and bank? Susan, how much?
22,500.
That is 22,500. Okay. 22,500. Those are the only current assets which we have. So let's try to add them, and then we get our total assets figure. Let's try to add those total assets, and then we get our total assets figure. Add the total current assets. Add the total current assets. There is 180,000 for the total inventory plus 215,880 plus the 16,000 and then plus the 22,500. This is 4, 3, 4, 380. 4, 3, 4, 380. So this gives us the total 1 period to us. So give us the total. Give us the assets figure plus 136,960. This is 571,340. That is your total assets figure. Please confirm whether you have the same that side. Then you go to equity and liabilities. Those on YouTube.
571,200.
Those on YouTube, please confirm. Christy, do you have that as your total assets figure? Flavia, Joy.
Me, I have 571,200.
Where do you get the 200 from? It's 571,340. Okay. Because that one is 136,960. This is 434,380. So it should be 571,340. Try to check and see. Maybe there is a mistake somewhere. Christine, how much is your assets figure? Joy, how much is your assets figure? Try to share your assets figure before we move to equity and liabilities. Share with us your assets figure in the chat box before we move to equity and liabilities. Patricia, try to check. Susan, 571,340. Yeah, 571,340. That is our total assets figure. That is our total assets figure. That's the total assets figure. So let's move to the statement of, let's move to the equity and liabilities now. Equity and liabilities. Let's move to the equity and liabilities. Equity liabilities, equity and liabilities, and we are going to start with our equity. Let's start with equity and liability. Hey, someone is asking, what about the prepayment? Prepayment for electricity is 300. There's something. There's a prepayment, members. There is a prepayment, another prepayment. Thank you, Joy. I think we had not captured that. Thank you. Let's try to adjust this. There is a prepayment of electricity. So meaning that our figure has to change. We had not captured that. Sorry. There is prepaid electricity. There is prepaid electricity. Let's try to include that. So Joy, thank you. We had forgotten that. Christine, let's put in the prepaid electricity. Prepaid electricity, 300. Then our cash and bank. Cash and bank, we have 22,500. That is cash and bank. 22,500. Please do some adjustments there. We had forgotten the prepaid insurance. So this is 180 plus 215, 880 plus 16,000 plus 300 plus 22,500. That gives us 434, 680. Please confirm after making that adjustment. Total assets figure will be now as 136,960. And that will be 571,640. 571,640. Yeah, we are not included the prepayment for electricity, but now we are included that. So now it will be 571,640. Let's move to equity and liabilities very fast. We have 15 minutes to end this session. Should strictly be for 2 hours. So we have equity. Equity and liabilities. So we can start with equity. Under equity, please get your share capital. How much is the share capital of this company? Do we have share capital? Do we have share capital? How much is the share capital? How much is our share capital?
Four, three, five, eight, 43538.
Share capital. Share capital. We have 4, 35, 380. That is our share capital. That is our share capital. That is our share capital. Joe, you have 581,640. Let me just try to confirm. 434,680. 136,960. 434,680. Joe, it's 571, eh? Not 581. It's 571. Joe, try to adjust that. It's 571. 1. So share capital we have 435,380. That is our share capital. We have to add retained earnings. This company had some retained earnings. The retained profits. They have some retained earnings of how much? Of 420, 500. But then we have the net loss for the year. This net loss for the year reduces. Net loss for the year. How much was the net loss for the year? It's going to reduce our total capital. It's going to reduce. This was 372, 340. Then you can get our total equity. If it was a net profit, then you add, but this is a net loss, so it reduces what you already have. Okay. So, what will be the total equity? Let's get a total equity figure. Let's get a total equity. 435, 380 plus 420, 500 minus 372, 340. So equity, this is 483, 540. That is our total equity. Do we have any non-current liability? Let's try to check and see if there is any non-current liabilities. Let us go back to the question. Non-current liabilities. Do we have any long-term loan? I don't see any non-current. So I think we just need to move to the current liabilities. Let's just move to the current liabilities. Current liabilities. What do we have under the current liabilities now, based on the information we have? Current liabilities, what do we have? Christine, Joy, what are the current liabilities as per the information given? We have trade payables, not so. We have the accounts payable. How much is the accounts payable figure? Accounts payable. Accounts payable, how much do we have?
215,880.
No. Accounts
No?
payable is
85,900.
this is 85,900. That's 900. And then maybe we also have what? We also have the accrued, because the accrued expenses, those are current liabilities in the statement of cash position. So we have, there was accrued rent. We have accrued rent. And that rent we computed. And that accrued rent was 2,200. It was 2,000. 2,200. Those are the only current liabilities that we have here. You get your 85,900 plus the 2,200 plus the 2,200. That gives you 88,100. When you add this 88,100 to the 483,540, you get what? You get 571, 640, and that is your total equity. That is your total equity, and that's your total equity and liabilities. That is your total equity and liabilities, and that should always be the same as the total assets figure here. From the accounting equation, total assets will equal to the equity and liabilities, and I think those are the totals are the same, 571,640. So that is your statement of financial position. That's your statement of financial position. So unless there is a question, if you have a question about manufacturing accounts for now, please, you can ask your question. So we are stopping here. Next week, we are going to start on partnerships. We are going to do partnership accounts. We see how do you account for, how would you do the accounting in the books of the partnership? How do we deal with the changes in the partnership business, admission of new partners, revaluation of assets, change in the profit or loss sharing ratios? How do you dissolve a partnership? That is going to be the coming. That's going to be the coming Saturday. We are going to look at accounting for partnerships. So today we are stopping here. Thank you so much for attending. Please go through this work. I'm going to share a question for you to try out. I'm going to share a question in the group, which you can now try out and see if you can come up with a manufacturing account, if you can come up with a statement of profit or loss, if you can come up with a statement of financial position. I'm going to share some practice questions. I'm going to share some practice questions. Those on YouTube, Joy, Christine, I don't know whether Flavia is still there, Brenda, thank you so much for attending as well. Yeah, we are stopping here for today. Bye-bye and have a good night. We shall start from there on.